I should have known. I don't know why I keep putting my faith in Disney when I know they're just going to do something stupid soon anyway. You know, I'll have to say, looking back in hindsight, I really shouldn't have let myself get all excited about this anyway. When The Mandalorian Season 2 came out, there was this brief moment where Star Wars was just so good, and Star Wars fans, at least myself, had so much hope for the future. The Mandalorian was a massive success, and while some people didn't like Luke Skywalker appearing at the end of Season 2, I personally thought it was a fantastic ending to The Mandalorian. I believe the show should have ended there, and everything would have been fantastic. I had hope, honestly, after seeing Disney do something good. I was excited to see what Star Wars could do next after this huge success. And then The Bad Batch came out, and then The Book of Boba Fett came out, and then the worst of them all, Kenobi, came out. And now any hope that I had for Star Wars going forward is completely shattered and destroyed. The Bad Batch wasn't absolutely terrible, just very mid. The Book of Boba Fett sucked for its own reasons and completely ruined the ending of Mandalorian Season 2. And then came Kenobi. Now, I will have to say, after the very first episode of Kenobi, I actually was really enjoying the show. I watched the first episode with a ton of my friends. We were all so excited to see this first episode of Kenobi, and I loved the Order 66 scene at the very beginning, and I just loved seeing how depressing and sad Obi-Wan really was on Tatooine. It was refreshing to see Ewan McGregor again, and just for a second, I actually found myself enjoying the show. But then came the other 5 episodes of the show, and man, oh man, I'm past the point of getting angry or upset. I'm just simply done with Star Wars. I made a video right before Kenobi was released, and talked about things that I did not want / did want from the show. Apart from the Darth Maul bit, every single thing I was worried that Disney would do, they of course did. Now, I should have known that Disney would mess it up, and of course, they did. I don't know why I convinced myself that they wouldn't. But you see, there is zero way that you could ever consider this show canon. It's the same thing with the Star Wars sequels. You just cannot simply consider this canon, because they retcon too many things, and things just don't make any sense. Now, there is a laundry list of things that make Kenobi a pretty bad show, but I'm just going to start off with this, and this is one of the biggest problems with the show in the first place. So, why in the world was the story from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show wrapped up in a child rescue mission the entire season? Let me just tell you this. A few months ago, if I had told you what I'm about to say, that this was the story of Kenobi, I just want you to think, what would your reaction have been? Yeah, so Obi-Wan Kenobi, we're going to make the main overarching storyline be about Kenobi saving a young Princess Leia for all 6 episodes. Now, if I had told you just that, you most likely would have asked something like, wait, what about the Inquisitors tracking him down or fighting him? Or, what about him doing the one thing that he was tasked with doing in being on Tatooine and protecting Luke? Do you see how stupid that actually is in reality? Kenobi actually could have been interesting. Hayden and Ewan really do care about these roles. Seeing them in them again was just so cool because they genuinely do love Star Wars, and they genuinely love their characters. So many actors that played characters in the Star Wars universe nowadays go on to say that they hated Star Wars because of their experience. So it's refreshing to see that Ewan and Hayden actually enjoy the people that they play. That part was actually a really cool part of the show that I think everybody can agree on. Their own acting was quite fantastic, and seeing all the interviews and moments between these two throughout this whole process was really cool and really awesome. But just about everything else about the show stunk. The storyline was terrible, the dialogue was terrible, and the moments of retcon, the moments that didn't make sense, were just so frustrating to see. Not once the entire show did we see Obi-Wan fight the Inquisitors. Not a single time. We also had a subplot, that's right, it is a subplot because the main plot is about Leia, but a subplot about Reva that really pretty much did go nowhere and just made no sense. Now you see, listen, Reva is a fine character by herself. If she was just a normal Inquisitor, totally fine, would have had no problem with that. But instead, Reva was one of the focuses of the show, which that just didn't make sense. Specifically, what didn't make sense was her storyline. Long story short, basically, Reva was a young Jedi when Order 66 happened. Okay, that's alright. And so she always had this hatred for Anakin, Darth Vader, because of what he did in Order 66. So her master plan to get back at Vader, because again, she wanted to kill Vader. So her master plan was that she was going to go and kill tons of innocent people, become an Inquisitor, and become the exact same thing that Darth Vader was, to then try to get close enough to Darth Vader to actually kill him. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. She hunted down and killed all of her kind just to hope to get close enough to kill the most powerful lightsaber wielder in the galaxy. How in the world does that make any sense? And then she just completely refuses Obi-Wan's logical, sensical help, and then for no reason turns around and just wants to inflict harm on Obi-Wan and hinder him in his goals. Reva could have been taken completely out of the story, and the story would not miss her or suffer whatsoever. I do not hate Moses Ingram or anything like that. I know that it's been a big controversial point with all the racist remarks that she's had made towards her, but I do not hate the actress herself. I just simply hate her character because she was so dumb, made no sense, and got way too much attention on a show that should have solely been about Kenobi. I said this in my video, that I did not want the show to be about people other than Kenobi. I do not understand why Disney has this problems with its spin-off shows. The show was more about Reva and Leia than it actually was about Kenobi. Kenobi was not a facilitator of the plot, he was just reacting to it the exact same way that Doctor Strange was in Multiverse of Madness. Again, Reva's storyline makes absolutely no sense. Whatever nice things she could possibly do, that does not make up for the fact that she murdered probably hundreds of her own kind for the majority of her life. And then to spin her as a good character, or then to give her an arc that just does not make any sense. Now, I want to shift gears here a little bit. This is something that I just continuously hate the more that I watch Disney's Star Wars. I hate so much how Disney ruined lightsabers. I want to take you guys down memory lane for just a second. Do you guys remember when Dooku lightly scraped Obi-Wan's arm and leg, and Obi-Wan literally couldn't walk for the rest of his fight when his literal Padawan was facing a very powerful lightsaber wielder? Obi-Wan simply could not even stand up. Or when Qui-Gon melted 2 layers of solid metal by sticking his lightsaber in the door? Or even when Darth Vader cut Luke's hand off and Luke could not even fight back and just emotionally lost it? Lightsabers used to be the most powerful and cool science fiction weapon out there. They used to deal real damage, and they used to actually mean something. Now, in all of Disney's new Star Wars stuff, you can literally get stabbed in the stomach with a lightsaber and just walk it off. Reva and the Grand Inquisitor got literally stabbed in the stomach and just lived. The Grand Inquisitor species have 2 stomachs, I know. But Reva? Why did her insides not melt? How in the world can anybody, much less Reva, survive a hole in the middle of her body? Lightsabers are completely useless now. You don't see this time and time again. You don't just see this in the Kenobi show. Look at any of Disney's new Star Wars stuff. You can literally get the length of your spine sliced up and down and be completely fine. Why? Disney. Why are lightsabers so pathetic now? And why the heck are bacta tanks just the get out of jail free card now? 3rd degree burns that should leave you wounded for months. This is one thing that actually did make sense. Tala literally says, "You're not healed yet." Obi-Wan was like, "Well, I don't care," gets out of the tank and walks it off. The show makes no mention of his wounds after that. So he spends, what, 10 minutes in a bacta tank and he's just completely fine? Well, got a gaping hole in your abdomen? Just hop in the bacta tank and you'll be all good. You see, it's just pathetic, lazy writing that makes no sense whatsoever. And speaking of not making sense, the entire length of the season, Obi-Wan continuously does things that make no sense. He is a bumbling idiot, just like I said I did not want to happen. Obi-Wan is clumsy, and Leia gets them out of trouble pretty much time and time again. Go through and watch the show again, or if you haven't watched the show, watch it with this in mind. How often does Obi-Wan actually make a smart decision on his own? He can't really use the Force pretty much well at all for 5 straight episodes, and then in the last episode, randomly out of nowhere, he just becomes a superhuman and throws literal thousands of pounds with complete ease. He runs away from danger almost the entirety of all the episodes and makes some of the most stupid and illogical decisions a person, much less a former Grand General of the Galactic Republic, could make. It doesn't even make sense for him to be Rusty using the Force and Rusty using a lightsaber in the first place. Think of this. If Kenobi's sole purpose was to protect Luke and to train Luke, then it would make no sense for him to be so rusty with everything. If he was there to protect and train Luke, Kenobi would need to stay in shape and stay active and be ready to use the Force or use his lightsaber whenever he may need to, either to protect him or to one day train him. It just simply doesn't even make sense that he was just rusty and stupid for 5 straight episodes. Obi-Wan is either constantly saved by somebody, directed or led by somebody, or makes a dumb decision when he actually does make a decision on his own. And then for some reason, the last episode, in the last 15 minutes, he randomly turns into the greatest Jedi to ever live out of nowhere. That just doesn't make any sense at all. You see, Star Wars is trying and failing miserably to rely on fan service and cool callbacks for popularity. The show has a terrible storyline. The show has characters that make no sense. The show's quote-unquote main character in Obi-Wan does things that do not make any sense. This show also has so many retcons, I can't even begin to explain them all. But trust me, there are so many retcons, but they try to gloss over them by showing cool things. Oh look, Quinlan Vos is alive. Oh look, Darth Vader looks so cool. Wow, look, an Obi-Wan and Anakin flashback. Dang dude, it's an old clone trooper. You see, these moments of fan service or callbacks are cool and pretty interesting, but they are just used to try to distract you from how many problems are actually going on in the show. Now, I really wish I could actually talk about why this show sucks for hours and hours, but I don't want this video to be too long. But it absolutely could be. And I didn't even mention the various retcons, as I said. How the Inquisitors were extremely misused in the show, or how a horrible Season 2 of the show would actually be. So, to recap, Reva's story sucks and makes no sense. Kenobi is a bumbling buffoon for the majority of this season until randomly in the last episode, he displays a level of ability that we have not seen him display a single time throughout this show. Lightsabers are continuously made to be a joke, and Star Wars fans across the globe are trying to justify the things that are shown in this show and present this show to seem like it is actually good. Not everybody, but many Star Wars fans across the globe are actually doing this. Kenobi is trash, and now I officially throw in the towel just like I said I would. Now, Obi-Wan's character isn't necessarily ruined, because we have seen him after the show, so we know how his character ends up. But because this show was so bad, and it did so many of the things that I specifically said that I did not want to happen, I'm just done with Star Wars. If Andor is good, cool. I probably won't watch it. I canceled my Disney Plus subscription, and I have no plans to watch any of the new content from Star Wars unless I hear it's really, really good. Thank you, Disney, for ruining my favorite childhood movie franchise. Now, we'll have to say, Rebels, Rogue One, and the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars Season 7 were both pretty cool. And The Mandalorian was awesome, but until they ruined it in the Book of Boba Fett. Between the destruction of the core sequels, the terribleness of the Book of Boba Fett and undoing the Mando Season 2 ending, just like I said, and how awfully my favorite character was portrayed, I'm officially done. Star Wars, I will have to say thank you for the awesome memories. Thank you, George Lucas, for making all the awesome content. But I am officially done. I can't stand it. I simply just can't take it anymore. Now, I don't mean to be a raging fan whose points and arguments are made out of solely hatred and not based on any logical thoughts or anything. But too much stuff doesn't make sense. Too much stuff is bad nowadays, and they've ruined too many good things for me. So, with all of that being said, I am just simply done with Star Wars. Thank you guys so much for watching. To help my movie grief, please do consider subscribing. I would massively appreciate all of the support. Until next time, have a great day.